Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again, bringing you the next section in my Mass Effect 2, the Arrival DLC video walkthrough. And it's on Insanity difficulty, so that means that the gunfights are that little bit longer than they probably should be, because everything's got a fucking shield. But this is an interesting room, and if you push it you will die very quickly, so the best thing to do is just keep as much distance as you can and try and just kill them one at a time. The only problem I have here is I get myself into a little situation because there's that bitch there who's behind that piece of cover, and then there's that asshole to my left, and because they're both on two opposite sides of the room, when she doesn't want to bob up, if I risk trying to aim at the other guy, she could bob up and kill me. And it's one of those moments where you need to focus on the one who is the biggest threat. And the biggest threat right there is that bitch that I think I just killed. So just keep rattling off your shots, keep conserving your ammo as best you can. You know, timing them every time they pop out to do as much damage, and hopefully they'll keep strafing left and right like that idiot did, and you can clean them up. And as soon as you see the saving, it means that you've killed everybody in the room, and then you can run around and loot the bodies and check for goodies and all the other great Mass Effect 2, you know, techniques of play. So some shit on the desk, there's some element 0, but it's just a case of another one of these cylindrical corridors to run through into another room full of bad guys. So I don't know if you're spotting a theme here or a little pattern, but there's definitely some correlation. And depending on, you know, how passionate you are about innovative game design will depend on how much this pisses you off. But it's another pretty challenging room, so what I generally do is from this vantage point, see that guy there, that's a flamethrower guy, make sure he dies as soon as possible, because if he doesn't, that dude is just mischief. But cleaned him up with the sniper, and it's just a case of picking everybody else off. And if you're using the sniper rifle like I am, be very careful, because it's not often aware how much damage you're taking, and because you're putting a lot more of your profile out than you would be if you were using the assault rifle, you will die a lot quicker when you're sniping than you will anything else. But I pretty much sniped the entire game on Mass Effect 1 because I really liked the reticle for the rifle. But I'm using the heavy weapon there, and you can hear as it bounces between the enemies, and it's such a cool gun. I really like that arc folder or whatever it's called. It's fucking awesome. But that guy's just been killed. Finish him off, reload, and just wait for the rest of the dudes to pop up. And it's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. The only difference being is that these are space fish and they have space weapons. Just always be careful of those ones. Can't remember what they're called. I don't think they're biotics. There's another name, but it's just there might be adepts, maybe. I don't think they're the ones that can control. They might just be engineers, literally engineer class. I don't know. But I see another flamethrower guy. He's getting a little bit too bloody eager, so I reinvent his face with a few holes, and his kit's going up. So if you can hit the kit, they will blow up like that, and it will do damage to the people around them. It can be kind of useful for when they're all clustered, but on this section they don't tend to cluster that much up. They just tend to be assholes and stay in cover, so just spray them as best you can, take your time, don't get too reckless, and you shouldn't have any problems with this stuff. You'll notice I'm using, I think is that the shotgun I had on there? Oh, she's flashbanged me. And it's a pretty cool looking flashbang effect, I will say. If they get you full on though, it's a pain in the ass because you can't see a damn thing. But there's 3 guys here, and I'm trying to use my shotgun, and sometimes the shotgun can be super powerful, and other times it can be absolute shit. Obviously, you're not supposed to use it at that kind of range, but it can surprise you the amount of range it does have, so it's always best to experiment and use whatever abilities you've got. I mean, for all I know, you could be playing as a vanguard, so whenever it's a one-on-one situation against dudes, you can just do that dash that knocks them, and then beat some people up. That is one thing that I do miss from the first Mass Effect, because you could knock people down a lot more than you could on this game. In fact, I don't even know if you can knock people down on this game. There was ammunition for it on Mass Effect 1 where you would knock enemies onto their ass, and when they were on their ass you could just keep beating them up and elbowing them with your gun doing the melee attack, because when you pressed fire when you were up close on the first one, it did an elbow. And I don't even know if that's come back on this game, because I don't think I've ever done it, but a lot of my strategies on the first game, even on Insane, were to knock stuff on their ass and then beat them up, because every time you punched them, it knocked them a bit of a distance, and if there was an edge, you could literally knock them off the edge. And if an enemy had like 4 life bars, you just knock them on their ass and then push them off an edge. It were really cheeky, but it was really useful. And there's no point going down to that doorway there. I go down to it twice in this video because I think that's the way to go, because I couldn't remember that there's a door that opens to my left. So there's nothing down here other than an opportunity to get your ass kicked if you're not careful. So you've got to go over to this to my left now. There you go, press on this and there'll be a nice little cutscene explaining what you have to do to make the project work. There's also a choice here between telling the Batarian colonies that they're about to get, you know, ass rammed by a satellite, or you can just call the Normandy for an evacuation. The first time I played the game I picked the Batarian one because I wanted to be nice, I was in a good mood. And you have to go down and take on the doctor because she's trying to sabotage what you're doing. So I thought on this run through I'll pick the Normandy one and maybe it'll make the DLC shorter, but alas it's the exact same both ways, so that kinda sucks, but yeah well. So there you go, 1 Batarian colonies, I'll call it Normandy. So I do the selfish route and it's the exact same result. Because I was hoping to avoid a firefight that you do at the end where you have to get to a comm tower and call for the Normandy, because it's probably the hardest fight on the DLC because you're timed. There's a ton of dudes, there's really bad cover, and there's one of those mechs that turns up that's got, you know, a barrier, not a barrier, sorry, it's got armor, it's got a shield, and then it's got its life, and it's very damaging. But the lucky part about that fight is the robots are dumb as fuck, so if you know how to exploit their AI, you shouldn't have any problems with them. But right now I get caught with my pants down because I didn't realise they spawned from there, and watch this, I'm stood trying to activate my barrier and it weren't working, so yeah. They will kill you super quick then. I got so lucky because they just decided not to shoot me for whatever reason. But one of them's moved towards those steps, so I come over here. I'm using this pillar for cover. I know where they both are now, so I focus on that guy, and the other guy's just around here, so I can just use this pillar. And if you can use cover well enough, if you can adapt to the environment and you can adapt to, you know, just keep on the fly, moving wherever the game throws at you, you shouldn't have any problems with it. I mean, if you panic and if you get flustered, you're probably just going to die, but the best thing to do is just, you know, evaluate as quickly as you can the best way to put, you know, some distance between you and what's trying to kill you, and then try and kill it. It's that simple. It's a universal game term, but here's a cutscene showing us walking into this building where the doctor's going to be, and then she's going to run off. And this is going to key the next sequence of the DLC where we have to activate these I don't know what they are, they're kind of like these engines that you push this module into and it powers it back up because she's trying to sabotage the launch into the mass relay. But you do 2 of them, then you kill her. She's not a boss, it's in a cutscene. And then you've just got to get the hell out of this place. So it's kind of one giant circle. If it wasn't for the fact we came and rescued this bitch, we wouldn't be in this mess. So, yeah, thanks, Lance Henriksen. But she runs away, she does her little number, she waddles off, then these dudes come in thinking they're cool. There's some unnecessary close-ups on Shepard's face, and then it's time to fight. So, take dudes out as you've been doing the rest of the DLC. As you can tell, we've got another favourable piece of cover here to use as a nice exploit to eke out and snipe, and just take dudes down. You'll notice as well, if you've got the incendiary rounds on, sometimes the enemies will catch fire, and it's so funny watching them dance around because they won't attack you, and it's a perfect opportunity to murder people. But keep pushing forward. And this is another marvel of game design. Anyone familiar with Halo 2 will understand the copy and paste mentality that went into this part of the DLC, because you seem to be fighting through rooms to get to elevators, to fight through rooms to get to more elevators, so bit of a shame on BioWare's, you know, department. I was hoping for something a little bit more creative, but it's still fun. So, in my eyes, they are crack dealers. They're selling me hope. I'm, you know, sinking into blissful ignorance, and then I just keep crawling back for more, even though it's destroying my life and my teeth and everything. But we still pay money for it, so there you go. Who's the bigger fool there? So, fire off a quick concussion shot, and just keep eking out, shooting dudes, and I managed to get the engineer stunned, so I drill her a little bit, and they both die in a nice conflagration of flames. So when you cruise in here, there's some ammo on the table, and this is the first engine core thing, whatever it's called. I can't quite read on the source monitor. You go up to it, you push it back in, and it tells you that you have to do it one more time. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But there's one more video after this, so as I've said, it's not the longest piece of content, but it is fun for what it is. I would have liked something, you know, similar to the loyalty missions in the main game, because some of the loyalty missions had such an attention to details and told such an interesting story. I mean, even the layer of the Shadow Broker, when it got down to it, there were certain areas that were a little bit too combat heavy for my tastes. But this is just corridor to corridor to corridor to corridor, and very little, you know, exposition or storytelling. Which is a big shame, because BioWare kind of marketed this DLC as if it was going to answer all these big questions that would lead us into Mass Effect 3 and give us like a big choice. And aside from an interesting conversation at the end with a Reaper that I'm not quite sure of the name of, there's no real, I don't know. This is not a must-buy when it comes to Mass Effect canon, because it's not like the end of Shadow Broker where there was those vaults full of information that gives you so much unnecessary knowledge of your crew. It was unreal. But excuse me, if you come in here, you turn this switch off, you can then run through the flames that were once being projected in this next room, and then you can carry on. And you'll notice as well in one of the first videos of this guide, I call the Reapers Reavers, and the reason for that is A, I'm a retard, and B, I watched Blade 2 the other night, so I still got the Reavers in my head. So that's just a pronunciation mistake on my behalf. I do know the Reapers, yeah. It's just one of those things that happens. And right there, I managed to take out the flamethrower guy. If you didn't see him, always prioritise that motherfucker or he will kill you. He's such a dickhead. And then when you come into this section, you can actually use this gap in these pipes to murder these dudes, because they have a lot of trouble shooting you. And for some reason, it's just an awesome spot to take out the 3 or 4 guys that are in this room. And if you push down, they'll probably start rushing you. But if you stay on these steps, you can snipe them. And they, look, see what I mean? Not even shooting me. It's like they can't. It's interesting, but it should help anybody that's struggling with this room. And that's what this shit's designed to do, so snipe them, pistol them, assault rifle them, do what you can. There's one more engineer at the back there, and every time you kill this guy he seems to fall through the graphics. Or tell a lie, there's a goddamn pyro guy, make sure he dies or you will fucking run. But there's a guy in the back here, and watch this, every time I've killed this dude he's fallen through the graphics both times. So watch this. Shoot, 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 shoot. Go on, die, bitch. Here he is, he's still in cover. Shoot him. Shoot, shoot. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Come on. Look at me, just showing how pathetic I am at times with this rifle. Here we go, finish him up. There, did you see it? He just falls through the graphics. And when you go up to him, you can't see his body. His body just disappears. He's like a magician. Check him out. He's just gone. But once you've done that, you can blow up that and you can climb into the next section. So, we're coming to the end of this second to last part of the video. So once again, guys, I'm hoping that you're enjoying the guide. It's a nice short and sweet one of the DLC. When I do break up from my school, my university, I might do a Mass Effect 2 Insanity guide, because it's a pretty challenging game and it might be something worth adding to my channel, because there's not that many games coming out for the next month or so, the next 2 months. It's pretty quiet, so I'm still going to be putting as much content as I can, and I've got a good 40 Xbox games that I could make possible guides to, so just something to think about. Once again, thanks for watching, and you take care now.